I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector Podcast. And I have joining me, returning guest, the president of Dryden Gold, Maura Kolb. Welcome back, Maura.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you again. You, Trey, myself, spent some time in Quebec City. We were reviewing what was then the most recent drill results on your property, and since then you've had several more results drop, and they're looking pretty fabulous as well. But before we get into what's coming, let's tell everybody what the company's all about and give them an overview for those that aren't familiar with you.
Yeah, so Dryden Gold, we're a junior exploration company. We're based in Northwestern Ontario. We have a very large land package, 70,000 hectares here. We basically are looking at a district play around the Dryden region. We have kind of three main target areas. We've been working hard to drill and understand the Gold Rock Camp area, and that's where the newest results have been from.
Wonderful. I like the area you guys have. It's massive. The results that we got were like just from like a small corner of the map of your bigger property. So let's explain the results that you're gonna have to tell me about, but let's explain it in relationship to the previous conversations so people could get an idea of where the exploration is moving.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give a little bit of context. So I talked about that big land package. We are positioned along what we call the Manitou Genomic Deformation Zone. It goes from the northeast corner of our property down to the southwest corner. And this area that we've been drill testing is kind of right central in the property, on just adjacent to that main structure, which we believe is the controlling feature for high-grade gold in the camp. It's been compared to the Porcupine Duster Fault in Timmins by some researchers at Metal Earth. So very nice geologic system to be in and a great land position. So this area, Gold Rock, had some historic mining in the early 1900s. So, we had that base to work with, had some work from previous explorers, but pretty underexplored in general, this whole camp. We had an amazing result earlier this year of 300 grams over just under 4 meters with 1,930 over 0.6 meters. So, some pretty incredible high grade on this property. That's our highlight of the highest we've hit. But in addition to that, previous operators hit 53,000 grams over about a half a meter. So there's certainly some splashy, crazy grades on this property and in this region.
Yeah. Now you talk about that fault line and drew the comparison. It's a long fault. Like, how long is that fault, and how much of it have you actually explored to date?
So on our property, we have 50 kilometers of that fault around the little more exposed. And we've really been only focused on, for drill testing at least, about a kilometer and a half of that at the Gold Rock project area. Some of our other more regional exploration targets are also related to the structure, but we're really just scratching the surface at this point of the potential that's here.
Yeah, no kidding. When it's 50 kilometers and you've only explored, say, a kilometer of it, there's a lot of fault to get to. So the Gold Rock area that you are just released the drill results for, how far away is that actually from the drill results you had established earlier on when we talked in Quebec City?
Yeah, so we've been exploring this area that's about a kilometer long. We have had some results from what we call the Jubilee zone, which is at the southwest end of that kilometer. And then we've also drill tested up to where the historic Laurentian mine was, which is a kilometer to the northeast. So that whole trend we call the Laura Gold system. And why we're focused on that this year is that it is a wider shear zone hosted gold system. So it means there's disseminated gold. And some of the really new and exciting things we've seen to date is that besides that nice shear zone system, we are seeing in the hanging wall, so basically in front of or behind the footwall, other parallel stacked structures. So why is that interesting? Well, it gives us a lot more targets than we originally thought we had between that shear zone being the main focus. Now we have all these other parallel nearby high grade targets to go after. So, very exciting news when we drilled our first hole at the Laurentian mine, although we did intersect his old historic workings a little deeper than was historically reported. We did hit a new structure in the hanging wall with 28 grams over about half a meter. So a nice little vein with visible gold in it. We're pretty excited about the other parallel structures that were there. We stepped further to the south, knowing that way we wouldn't intersect any workings. So we're not on the high grade target there. But for geology purposes, we drilled 2 other holes to intersect where those structures would be and kind of get a better understanding of the geologic setting. So we're just working through old paper data there that we've recently uncovered to put together where the historic mine is, and then be able to target the Laurentian even better. Now that mine was very shallow. The reports say 140 meters. We believe it's a little deeper after that drill hole that we intersected at about 165 or 170 meters true depth from surface. So we're working on that, and we'll be able to drill test that below the historic mining operation. That historic mine was 14 grams per ton. So we're super excited to test that target more this summer. We also had recent results between the Jubilee, which is what we were mainly drilling in 2024 and early 2025, and that Laurentian mine. Halfway between there was a kind of theory target that we had where there was a fault intersection, and we thought it was a perfect setting for some high grade gold. So we recently put out results on hole DRG 2507, where we had 8 meters at a little over 2 grams. With some high grade within there. So we are very excited to see that shear zone mineralization hosting there at the Pearl target, where we've just put a couple holes in so far. So we'll continue to test that one. And then the really exciting thing that we've intersected too down at the Jubilee, I mentioned that crazy high grade that we had, but we found yet another parallel structure there with 2 holes that had visible gold. DRG 2511 and 12 both had visible gold on a new structure. So we're really starting to kind of add up these stacked structures and these high grade targets. We've found some helpful historic data so we can work to kind of target the Laurentian mine better. I'm really getting excited about the potential between this Aurora gold system, that shear zone that we've been testing. And if you remember 2024 and 2023, when we first started drilling, we tested a parallel system called the Big Master system. That is more vein related, but there's been no drill testing, no exploration between these 2 parallel zones. They're about 500 meters apart. So we're really keen to understand what other potential could be between these 2 structures. Could we have even more high-grade gold targets? And that's some of the stuff that our exploration team is working on at Gold Rock itself.
The last time, and I just remember this very vividly, the last time you told me you had visible gold in your core that hadn't been assayed yet, which is what you're telling me now with these new holes. The results that came back were quite remarkable. And as I jokingly tell people, I'm not a geologist. If I can see the gold, there's a lot of it there. And I've seen the picture. I can see the gold.
It's really nice when you're exploring to see something like that that's very visual up front when you don't have the results yet. So it gives you a great indicator that you're onto something. So we've been getting pretty excited about the interpretation and furthering our understanding of this area geologically. In addition to this Gold Rock Camp target area that we've been focused on, I mean, we have multiple regional targets in that kind of middle of our project footprint, or we call Gold Rock. So we're doing mapping and early stage work there. But then our next drill target, we're actually going to take a break from Gold Rock and go down to Sheridan, and that has a 617 gram per ton surface sample on a nice vein. It's a little bit different setting. We've got different rock types, ultramafics and mafic flows there, multiple structures. So we're really excited to see how that, if we can follow that up underground with those drill holes. So, I mean, it's a very exciting summer we have.
Yeah, and it's the nice thing about where you are, you get to work year round. And so the drills are constantly turning and there's constant results moving this project forward as you progress. Now this Sheridan that you're going to be targeting next, how far away from that is it from the Gold Rock camp?
That's at the very south end of our property. So from Gold Rock, you're looking at about uh, 25 kilometers away. It's very easily accessible. So we're right off of the 502 highway here south of Dryden. I mean, I can't speak enough about the incredible access that we have. So this is something Trey always brings up as well, but we have a paper mill in town. So there's a lot of forestry activity giving us road access and the ability to get into things, into targets very easily, which gives us a very low drill cost. We're looking at about $250 all in per meter. So it really allows us to do a lot with the shareholder um, investment and really get a lot of bang for our exploration dollars.
So if you hit at Sheridan where you're drilling next, this is a completely new target to the gold camp target. And so instead of having one district play, you potentially have a second.
Yeah, we have two kind of focuses. We know we have something interesting at the Gold Rock camp and we're working on growing that. But with the 70,000 hectare property, we see so much potential. And what's interesting is we see different deposit models because one of the things I like to compare to the Timmins camp, there you have multiple different deposit model styles of mineralization that host viable gold mines and very successful gold mines. So that is a really interesting comparison in the Dryden district. Seen very, very little exploration, but at Sheridan, we see a different type of mineralization with ultramafics being a host rock. And then, one of our other early stage exploration targets, Hinman, which is on the very east side of our property, we see gold veining related to granodiorite, which is like your granite countertop. So very competent rock in mafic flows. So two very different styles of mineralization from our gold rock kind of vein and shear zone hosted mineralization. And that to me thinks, that makes me think, wow, this really has district scale kind of potential. And again, we have, I feel, the very best position in the camp, the main structural regime, and we hold the ground on all of it, really.
How many more holes have been drilled to date that still are awaiting assay results to come back? So basically, I'm asking you how many more results are yet to come, and between now and winter, how many more holes are going to be drilled? That's going to help tell more of the Dryden Gold story.
Yeah, our plan for this year is 15,000 meters. We have about, I believe it's about 4,000 meters that we've put assays out for. And we've been having some trickle in. It's the holiday week here with Canada Day being yesterday, but I do expect to be getting results in soon for some of the drilling that we've done. We're about halfway through the program right now. So it's nice because of the year-round ability to drill and the local lab. We actually have a lab here in Dryden. We're kind of constantly delivering samples to them and getting results back. So you'll see more news flow coming soon. We have those two holes with visible gold that I'm eagerly awaiting those results for to get them out and have more hanging wall mineralization to speak to. You'll continue to see results all year. It's a little hard to say how many holes because it depends which targets we go after. Something that you know we do at Dryden Gold is every time we drill a hole, we're integrating the data that we collect even before we get the assays and adjusting our drill plan. So we never have a set, this is our drill plan, these are the holes we're going to drill. It's a constant reiteration of, what we should target based on what we see. So it's hard to say how many holes that'll be, but we've got a lot more meters left to drill in this fully funded program. And some interested shareholders on keeping us going and looking at what will be the plan for next year, especially if these summer programs are successful. And so far they've been pretty interesting. our regional work at Hinman, which is on the east side, this upcoming program at Sheridan, and then the mapping and kind of, I call it the science experiment that we've been doing at Gold Rock, has highlighted a lot of additional targets, and we already know that that area is gold rich from the drill results to date. So lots more on the horizon.
Yeah, and if people want to keep following these results, and if they're as intrigued about those two visible gold holes that as I am, how are they going to follow these results as they come?
Yeah, find us at drydengold.com. We're also very active on LinkedIn and Facebook and all of the social media outlets. So you can definitely follow us along, and I'll be putting out little videos explaining what we've hit and some of the geologic context, so everybody can understand what we're seeing.
Yes, I recommend you follow those videos, folks. Maura makes the geology accessible to even non-geological schmucks like myself that you can look at it and kind of have a grasp of what they've got. So I thank you much for your time again today, Maura, and I look forward to following up again in a few weeks when more results will come through.
Awesome. It'd be great to talk to you then. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Dryden Gold is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News, and the host owns shares and warrants in Dryden Gold bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.